alive.
Four last stop standing. Secure the container once the threat. Op 4 eliminated. Friendly mission.
The Rainbow Six series was born as a measured, strategic shooter that encouraged cooperation and planning for a team to successfully overcome their opposition. After Rogue Spear, the series became more and more watered down, eventually turning into the Vegas series that still offered a much more intelligent multiplayer component than the industry average, but its underwhelming campaign and snap to cover heavy combat held it back. There have been too few games to reach the superior levels of execution-based multiplayer that manage to bring healthy pacing to what today is mostly an absolutely dull and vacuous experience like the heights of the Rainbow Six series have. Fortunately, Ubisoft has taken a bold step in the right direction with its newest entry to the franchise, Rainbow Six Siege. But unfortunately, they didn't fully clear the breach and stubbed their toe along the way.
Deploying nitro. Swapping mags.
Op 4 has located a bomb.
First, I have to say what a relief it is to finally play a game again after what seems like years of copy and paste run and gun garbage that wore out its welcome back in 2010 and stayed around like an unwanted party guest that wouldn't let you move on with your life. Gaming has become so saturated with a handful of genres that have completely killed any variety in AAA titles, with what mostly boils down to large open world, third-person action games or RPGs, and shooters with the same forgettable campaigns and routinely picked game modes that all invoke you spawning and trying to get more kills than deaths so that you contribute to your team. Games like the recent Halo 5, which forego establishing any strategy or creating a front, in exchange for die and get back in the action gameplay, have become nothing but tedium. I used to enjoy these types of games, but that was back when I had variety and I could play different types of shooters, RPGs, RTSs, or whatever. Siege ironically comes out within a fairly close time frame as Ubisoft's other big launch this quarter, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which happens to be one of the largest offenders of this mindless mediocrity machine that has consumed mainstream gaming for the better part of a decade. Now, onto the meat of it. Siege once again offers the slower-paced, methodical multiplayer that its ancestors once championed. This is a true attempt to capture the spirit of what Rainbow Six has always been about. Close quarters, semi-realistic, disciplined coordination that leads to every match having an initial planning phase, then a slow build, the tense silence that suddenly erupts into a symphony of violence and destruction as everything comes together as one team's strategy is realized while the other has to go back to the drawing board in agonizing defeat. That being said, you still have to be good on the draw. Having the ability to pull the trigger and unleash a burst of lead into your opponent's head certainly helps, but twitch aiming and precision shooting are much more supplemental to victory rather than an integral part. There's a lack of a campaign mode, which is somewhat compensated for by the situations mode that allows you to play 10 single-player missions with bonus objectives, and one 5-man bonus mission at the end of it. It serves its purpose, and not every game mode needs the mandatory campaign mode tagged on when it wasn't designed around having one. However, with the lack of a significant single-player, you'd expect the multiplayer to offer more content, and with Siege's 10 different stages for competitive matches, it feels slightly lacking, but not as much as you'd think. 10 stages go surprisingly far in Siege due to the familiarity with each one that's required to successfully plan a good offense and defense. Each stage is uniquely themed and masterfully designed to allow a variety of different ways to approach each area of them. Coordination between your friends is key to playing against organized teams. When you say you're breaching the bathroom, or that they're coming in through the laundry room, it's pretty important that everyone knows what you're talking about. There's a level of intimacy with every level, and you'll have your favorites that you seem to come out on top of every time, and the others that you'll still need to work on. Additionally, there are day and night variations for each level that actually have an effect on the gameplay, making breaching a bit easier at night due to side advantages and harder during the day. Additionally, there are 20 operatives, 10 for attackers and 10 for defenders that can be unlocked, that each have their own weapons and abilities that can drastically change your role and how you play. Whether you're the first to enter a breach with a shielded character like Blitz, or scouting for weaknesses in their defense to exploit with characters like Fuse, every class has a useful function, although some seem more useful than others. I certainly had my favorites between 2 or 3 I'd regularly choose between each side. There's a customization system for guns, although it's somewhat limited compared to other titles, just offering a handful of scopes, grips, laser sights, or barrel fixtures. The classes add to the cooperative nature and give a larger sense of progression to the casual and ranked playlists. But no one likes seeing the recruit saluting back at them from the team loadout page.
Boarding the door. 10 seconds to insertion.
All of this can be unlocked faster through a series of microtransactions, but unless you're a real fan of weapon skins, everything becomes available briskly enough for that to be completely unnecessary. Sound is one of the most important aspects to Siege, and it does an excellent job of capturing it. While waiting for a breach, the defending team will be able to hear every footstep, gunshot, glass break, or explosion in the rooms around them, expertly creating a tension that keeps you on your toes, listening for the advantage. Unfortunately, the menu music is pretty bland with a series of repetitious percussion pieces and an inexplicable absence of the original Rainbow Six theme that would have truly brought this title back to its roots. The biggest drawback of Siege is undoubtedly its servers and the frequent glitches that you figure out how to get through. You'll frequently get stuck in geometry when rappelling up walls that require you to briefly go prone to move again. Even though it's an easy fix, it happens enough to be distracting and could potentially cost you the game. The worst part is the often long queue times for matches and the frequent disconnect issues that had my team of 3 to 4 players leaving about a third of the games we were placed into to pick up a man who was left behind on the title screen. They certainly need some work when 30% or so of your games are significantly hurt due to server issues. That being said, it goes to show you just how strong the core game is that there are few games that I would have tolerated such an affront. When everything is running smoothly and you're able to coordinate with your friends and blast through the competition, it's sheer bliss.
Protect the diffuser while it completes the sequence.
Rainbow Six Siege should be the framework that other developers and Ubisoft build upon. While it certainly has its faults, the connectivity issue almost being bad enough to qualify as game-breaking at times, and it could do with more immediately available content, Siege manages to bring back the golden era of shooters where you didn't have to look hard to find different styles that would each offer a varied and unique experience. This game isn't for those who grew up and nursed themselves on Call of Duty and want nothing else. In fact, you can usually spot these guys who throw caution to the wind, dashing around the level and then leaving the match rather than waiting for the round to end when they inevitably eat a bullet. Playing smart is key, and it generally pays off to do so. Confusing the enemy team and causing them to frantically lose focus through manipulation and using false breaches and misdirection to gain the advantage is immensely rewarding. Siege is a unique experience and one of the better ones of the year. Hopefully it does well enough to build upon and continue to improve and not settle for endless rehashes and imitation, lest it fall prey to the mediocrity machine that it defies. If you try and play this one alone, you might have a hard time enjoying it. However, if you've got a couple of friends to boldly go into the breach with, press that detonator and move in.
This is why Rainbow was formed. This is what you all have trained for. Your time is now.